My next Seatails guest is Mr. Herb Houston. Welcome aboard, sir.
Hi, Mark.
Could you tell us a little bit about your boating history? How many years you've been into boating and types of boats?
Well, if you want to go back, say, 70 years or so, when we were making canoes out of wooden bicycle rims to ride the breakers in the Santa Monica Bay. Of course, we don't have to go that far back if you don't want to.
So you've got quite an extensive history.
Yeah, my first big boat was in the mid-1930s. It was a 43-foot single screw, wooden hull. It's a classic. It's still floating down in San Diego. That's an old boat. It was built in 1921.
It had to be well maintained to still be floating.
Yeah. Of course, with the wood boats, you have to change wood once in a while. You know, when the worms get at it.
It's all remade right now.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. You're talking about history. Well,
I understand you have a Seatail for us, a story with a safety message. Could I get you to tell one of those?
Well, yeah. You want some more history?
I'll go into the Seatail. I'm going to leave it at this. With 70 years of history,
I'll take that.
We would be here quite a while.
As a prompt.
Yeah. But little safety story, some kind of true incident. In all those years of boating, you must have quite a few, I realize.
Well, I've never been into real bad trouble. And the reason for that is when you go to sea, you have to have with you what you know you're going to need or what you think you may need. If you don't have it, you have to do without it. So you have to improvise. I've always managed to have something aboard to fix something that went wrong, seems like. Well, I lost a through hull one time.
For our non-boating friends, could you explain what a through hull is?
A through hull, yes. In the plumbing in the boat, your heads are pumped through hulls into the sea. Your bilge, you pump.
These are little fittings with a hole in them.
Yeah, this is
that go to the ocean.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and suck up the water.
Right.
Or discharge.
And you suck in seawater into your heat exchanger to keep your engine cool, things like that.
And one of these fell off?
Well, these things are being metal. Sometimes they corrode away, and you have a hole in the boat. So what do? You have to find it, and you have to plug it. So I always had some cone-shaped plugs. So it goes from a small point to a wide end, and it'll fit any size through hull in the boat. And you just beat it in there until it holds, and you're all set.
These are made out of wood, or
wood. Yeah, it's like a tapered dowel. Well, let's see. I've got a story. We were heading for Catalina out of L.A. Harbor, what used to be known as West Basin. I think they call it something else these days. But we were heading across to Avalon. And it was after work, so in the middle of the night, when we were in the middle of the channel, and we were going over a pretty heavy sea. It was clear and no clouds or anything, but the sea was kind of rough. And let's see, I was steering. You know, you have to counteract the action of the waves. And all of a sudden, I didn't have any steerage. So what do you do with a single screw, 43-foot, 8-foot beam boat? With no steerage, with a great big 24-inch prop beating itself in the water? It goes around in a sort of a tight circle. And how do you straighten it out? I mean, if without that rudder, you're in trouble. We were in trouble. So I figured, well, I've got to improvise a rudder. So I took down the mast. We had a 10-foot mast. And I unscrewed the hinges of one of the hatches. And I was about to nail this hatch to this mast to make a sweep rudder so that I could steer this thing. Well, it was a black night, and I was looking out over the water there, and I saw some running lights over in the distance. Oh boy, we're saved. So I stopped what I was doing and went up to my spotlight, and I searched that big old searchlight, you know, inside, and I aimed it at these lights and blinked and dot 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 dash 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 dot dot dot.
The SOS.
SOS, right. And I watched it, and it changed course and came over, and finally came along, and it hove to alongside on my port side, and I shouted at the skipper. I said, well, we lost our rudder. Can you give us a tow? Sure. So he got a heave line, and he threw it. It had missed. And I came up through the hatch in the forward deck, and I was waiting to catch this thing if it ever hit the boat. You know. Well, finally, at about the 4th try, it landed across the deck, and I grabbed it and pulled the line aboard and made it fast forward. And he towed us into Descanso. And he said, he shouted at us, he says, "You better drop the lines because I lost one rudder during this tow. It got fouled up in one of the lines. So I'm on one wheel, one propeller, so I don't have much control with a twin screw job." It was a 60-foot boat, lots of boat. So I dropped the line, and I thought, that's okay, we'll just anchor. I had an 80-pound kedge anchor on that thing. And so I lowered the anchor, and the anchor just dangled in the water. I ran out of line, there was no bottom, we weren't in close enough. I put every bit of line I had on board, including all the spring lines and the painters and everything. We still dangled the anchor and never did touch the bottom. We were too far out. See? So we had a little clinker dink on board, and we rode that in and got the harbor maintenance guy, and we rode out. In the meantime, incidentally, it was foggy. We couldn't see a thing. But
Well, we got about 30 seconds left. So.
Well, I'll tell you, we found the boat out there in the fog, and we towed it in, and that was quite a harrowing experience. Yeah, to be out there without
anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, and chances are sometime it will, and you better be prepared. And on that note, I appreciate you coming. This has been Captain's Log Sea Tales. They may save your life or save you a headache out in the ocean. So watch Captain's Log.